Hello and welcome to Tank and AFE News. My name's Tom and we are doing book reviews. So we just a couple days ago got this one in the mail. It is the 38M Toldi Light Tank, which of course was a Hungarian World War II tank. This one is part of the Kagero Publishing's Photosniper series by Peter Mujzer, hopefully pronouncing that right. And this is the third of the books that he has done in this series that we've had a chance to look at. His other two dealt with the armored forces of Hungary during World War II in general. This is the first one that, or at least the first one I've had a chance to look at, that deals with a specific type of Hungarian tank. So, for me, that's the kind of stuff I really like being able to add to my own personal collection and that I like to be able to see and promote, because this is filling in a niche that I don't have a lot of information on already in my collection of materials, because obviously this is not one of the most famous tanks of World War II. You could argue it's not one of the tanks that was hugely important. I mean, Hungary's armored forces were not particularly substantial, and by the time this tank was being used on the Eastern Front, it is a bit outdated in terms of firepower and armor. But that doesn't mean it's not interesting, and it doesn't mean it's not a good vehicle. And in fact, this was a very interesting vehicle from a technical standpoint. And it was actually a Swedish design called the L60 that was adopted for Hungarian service. And the Swedes had some very interesting tank designs and tank design concepts in the 30s and after the War II, for that matter. So anyhow, let's take a look at this book. So these are primarily photos. I mean, the series is called Photosniper, but they're not photo books exclusively, like where some books are just all they are is photos with captions. This does include quite a bit of history and information and research. And quite a bit, actually. You're not going to find more information on this specific tank in any other book in English, I guarantee you that. So it starts off with an introduction just about Hungarian armor in general. Not nearly to the same degree in depth as his other books that deal exclusively on that topic, but it gives you enough background information to understand the history of this vehicle specifically. Let's see, defensive industry in Hungary, so we'll flip ahead here. But this kind of gives you an idea of the amount of text versus photos. So there's, anywhere from each page is about half to 1/3 text. So, and if you look at this book is, let's see, what is the page count on this guy? About 100 pages in the text part, some extra. So, it's the equivalent of about, if this was just pure text, you got about 30-some pages of text, which on a single tank is quite a bit of description. So here we have, they start talking about the license negotiation of the L60, and then how it comes into Hungarian service. So we'll skip ahead a little bit. The layout of the chapters pretty much you'd expect. So here we get the production, then the Toldi 2, because of course there was more than one version of it. Toldi 2A. Flip ahead a little bit more so you can see. Certainly if you need photos, for making, say, a model of this vehicle, you're going to find plenty of examples in this. So obviously it'd be highly recommended to people doing a model. Here we're getting into some of the different variants of the vehicle. Here we get technical descriptions. And then he gets into organization and training armored troops here that operated these vehicles. And descriptions of different units. Operational histories. So this book is going to be very handy for myself when in my Tanks of World War II series we get around to doing an episode. Probably we'll have just an episode on Hungarian vehicles. I don't know if this will get an episode on its own, but I'll have more than enough information here to do a video on it. So that's very helpful. And yeah, I mean, it just if you need photo references of this vehicle, this is the best collection you're probably going to find. He really has compiled quite a bit of information here, both visually and in terms of the text. So these are just, yeah, different descriptions. So yeah, 1st Armored Division and Eastern Front. So the rest of the book, I think a lot of it goes into the different campaigns that these vehicles were used in. And we'll skip ahead here. Chapter 8, so we have a section on the tank in Soviet service, because of course they would have captured some camouflage and markings in the light tanks in Hungarian service. Chapter 9. And then Chapter 10, Individual Vehicles History. So that's pretty impressive, and you can see here he's got these very extensive charts here. It's kind of hard to see, maybe if I hold it up a little closer. So you can see he's got the individual vehicles, the number plates, and what units they were assigned to, where they were in different years and whatnot. So that's pretty impressive, because there's not a lot of books that go through a tank and chart each individual one produced and where it went. Of course, it's easier to do with a tank that was produced in smaller numbers. And of course, with all the really good books always have a bibliography, so he provides his sources here. So 3 pages worth of bibliography, so that certainly indicates this guy knows his stuff. And then some organizational charts in the back and some line drawings. So again, useful for modelers if they are, need something to get the dimensions right. So there's that, and some more technical drawings. And then some unit markings at the very end. And then that pretty much wraps it up. And here's so these are the other 2 that I've already reviewed, Hungarian Armored Forces and Hungarian Armored Troops. History of the Turin medium and heavy tanks of World War II. I need to get this one, so hopefully we'll get a copy of that one soon. Because I'll need that one for the episode as well. So they don't list a price on this one, and they haven't been sending me little cheat sheets that have that kind of, author information and price. But I'm sure if you look it up on Amazon or or go to the Kagero website, you can find prices for this book. But that's it. So this one, definitely a big thumbs up. Kagero Publishing, 38M Toldi Light Tank. If you are interested in Hungarian tanks, this is a must. Alright, thank you much.